fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Alive, Baja Retreat and Spa, Divinia Spices, Commonwealth Bank, J.S. Johnson, Mobile Garage Technologies, Platinum Pastries, Popeyes, and Ross Electric Motors.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio, The Foundation with Howard Grant on this absolutely gorgeous Monday afternoon, February 13th. All you guys are there getting prepared for Lover's Day. I know you got your red on and doing your thing, right? I know that you're excited about these particular and if you ain't excited, I know your wife got the clothes laid on the bed. Honey, this is what you're going to be wearing tomorrow, okay? I don't want to hear anything, but baby, I don't think I want to fix the roof. Well, this is what you're wearing tomorrow, all right? So all you guys and gals out there, I know that you're getting prepared for Lover's Day and Valentine's Day. So in the spirit of that, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, in the spirit of what we give, and in this month of love, I wanted to have unique conversations, strategic conversations. Not just about love, not just about superficiality as it relates to how you commune in your relationship, but the core of whether or not this relationship is lending to society. Is it lending to your community? Is it lending to your family? Is it leading to a sense of sustainability and this idea of growth and legacy in your family? That's what I wanted to talk about. I don't want to just kind of do a superficial thing. I know that make sure you pick up your newspapers. There's a handsome guy in there. So I'm going to put that out there also, right? 96.9. I'm just going to be decent as possible. Make sure you pick up your papers today. You can see some information in there. I know that you want to be able to talk about some stuff. Green light to clear the shanties, right? And the judge says that the policy to demolish the unregulated communities is lawful, right? No arrest yet in the latest murders. These are things in the papers. It says the FNM urges government to swiftly address shantytown issues, and the government is actually moving on that. I want to talk more about that, but we sort of set this up. We set it up where we can be able to have a conversation about where we go from here, and that was the intent. That was the idea for me. The idea for me was to identify how we can get to the core. Remember, we're dealing with the foundation. Remember that we're dealing with this kind of an idea that says, how did we get to where we are? And there's any expectation outside of just the hopes, outside of just this frivolous conversation, is there any expectation that we can be in a better place in the future if we remain on the path that we're on? For me, I don't think that there is. For me, I don't believe that we can find ourselves to a place of growth and development if we remain on this particular course. That's for me. And so I'm always grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to you about the heart of a matter. So in the spirit of Lover's Day, and in the spirit of the month that we identify from the first world, from America, as Black History Month, today we're going to have a conversation wrapped in duality. A conversation that has to do with both love and Black history. We're going to start that conversation off with Black femininity. Over the course of the next few days, we're going to talk about one, Black femininity. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about Black masculinity. And Wednesday, God spare, we're going to have a conversation about black excellence, which is the cross section between both. So that's how we're going to talk. I have a wonderful guest in the studio with me, and she's going to be able to break down from that particular perspective. Now, yesterday I didn't have an opportunity to be able to go to church. But we always like to go to church despite the fact that we ain't going to church. So I think the pandemic put us in this kind of a position. So, we hopped online, we watched those particular things, and, it just it continued. My wife, for some reason, popped on TD Jakes. And something stood out to me that was tremendous during this time. Something stood out to me that spoke to the heart of exactly where we were. I saw this and I said to myself, this is where we need to go moving forward. I saw this and I said to myself, it's important for us to be able to recognize where we are as a people and the vulnerability of what we have in terms of moving forward. I want to be able to introduce the guest to you, but if my producer would so be able to play that clip. Is the producer available? All right, when he comes back. I want to talk to you about these particular things and talk to you about the heart of where we are. Howard, why are you talking about black femininity? Because I believe that over time we've misconstrued this feminist perspective with the femininity that exists within our black women. And I just wanted to do that. Now, this may not necessarily be the easiest of conversations for most. A conversation that's wrapped in vulnerability. A conversation that the forerunner is transparency. We cannot get to a sense of healing unless and until we're honest with ourselves. And I believe that this kind of disarray that we see in this, everything is topsy-turvy socially, is as a result of not knowing exactly our positions. Historically, we had it right. Though we kind of dismiss our forefathers, our grandmothers and whatnot, that say to us that, well, this is how it was. There's this idea that exists locally now that says, well, things ain't always got to be like that. But I wanted to talk to you about it. I wanted to talk to you about that. I wanted to take this position, take this perspective, and take this opportunity to talk to you about it. Right now, I just want to be able to play a small clip from TD Jakes. It's called Bruised Loved from yesterday. Producer, take it from me.
Because the heart is powerful, but vulnerable. Surrounded by the rib cage, the ribs are connected to the sternum with a strong, somewhat flexible material called cartilage. It's designed in such a way so that the rib cage helps to protect the organs in the chest, such as the heart, the lungs, from damage. God knew to protect the physical heart. Even though the heart is strong, it is vulnerable. I want to dwell on that. Even though the heart is strong, it is vulnerable. If I am to become the heart of God, that means I must be as strong as I am vulnerable. If I lose either one of them, I cease to represent the heart of God. If I go for the strong and let go of the vulnerable, I don't reflect the heart of God. I mistake it up under the false identity of being a strong woman. I'm a strong man. Yeah, but you hard. And if you are hard, you are not like God, because God gives us the hint in the physical heart that you must be strong enough to keep pumping and vulnerable enough that you have to be protected.
Strong words. Now, for me, I identified this as the base of the conversation today. What we have is a lack of vulnerability. And is it because of a relentless beating down of your aspirations, your ideas, your goals? What is it? Today, I want to travel to the core of that. I want to travel to the core of that with someone who came to mind. In a very quick conversation, I knew that this was supposed to happen. You would have heard us here being able to speak some time back about, I think we were talking about International Men's Day, or we were talking about some programs associated with what needs to be done in the inner city. But I heard something then, and I wanted to kind of revisit that today. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to none other than Kendra Bow sitting in the studio with us. Kendra, say good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. It's a pleasure to be here, Howard. Thank you for having me.
Man, I'm so happy that you're here with us today. Today, I want to get to the core of it. I want to really be able to talk with you, and I'm hoping that you're open enough to have these conversations with us. There is a need for vulnerability. There is a need for transparency. This idea that we continue to be able to travel as women, as men, as a collective into the future with this wall up. If you listen to the entire sermon, Bishop Jake Sox, he really starts to speak about a specific wall. He says, walls separate everything. Now, whilst you wanted to be able to separate yourself from the hurt, you also separate and isolate yourself from the pleasure. So you only wanted one aspect, but didn't understand that building a wall will separate everything. I've come to understand and realize, not necessarily through my own experience, but just listening and just being one of the watchers socially of watching persons and listening and kind of taking their stuff in, what's happening socially, I've come to realize that there is a great deal of walls that are built up around the hearts of our women. Men need women. And women represent the next birth. They carry the seed for society. Everything we look to a woman for. That's where we plant. And there's an expectation for growth. We haven't seen the type of growth that we'd like to see socially. And this is no blame game. We're not identifying those things. But the conversation that I'd like to have with you is, how do we get back to the core of how to love a woman again? Where did we go wrong to be able to find a true sense of growth? Talk to me about it.
Okay, so this is some deep conversation today, Howard.
Gotta go deep.
Yes, but I think
We gotta go deep. No pun intended.
I know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but what I would like to say, I think, in starting is that there were different roles that are lined out, I think, in every culture as it relates to men and women. And I think women have always been seen in a role as, the weaker sex. She's made for the man. She's not equal to the man. She doesn't have the same rights that a man has, and all of this. And then when wars came and all the men had to go out to wars, women found themselves, in order to survive and take care of the children that were behind, they had to work. Industrial Revolution.
Yes.
Go on, let's go. And they had to fill those roles that the men, so it's like, okay, I don't have a problem if this is the role you have for me. I'm in the kitchen, I cook and I taking care of the children. This is my role, right? That society is given. And then this man, he goes out there, he gets the food, he brings home the bacon, he hunts, whatever it is. And so there was an appreciation for what this man did, because he was risking his life and he was working and he was laboring for the family. And then there was an appreciation for what this woman did, who was in the house as a nurturer, taking care of the home, taking care of the children. But then that switch came. And when that switch came, and women now had to find themselves not at that time and period because they were trying to embark upon some great revolution, but just out of necessity. They had to fill the roles that were left vacant due to the fact that men weren't there. So when the men come back home, now women are empowered. They are working. They know that, hey, I have the capacity to do this same thing as well. I can, and I'm pretty good at it. I have thoughts of my own. I have ideas of my own that now flow outside of the home environment. And I think from, that scenario and situation there, I think it's been a constant, pushback in terms of women getting back into that place or that role that I think society or men have pretty much labeled women under. And I think a few persons have successfully married the two, where, there's a quote that I heard: the rise of woman is not the fall of man. And it's how do women become empowered? How do they fulfill that purpose that God has given them, and yet still have a respect and an admiration and appreciation for the man that God has blessed them with? And I think that that's the balance that we are still trying to strike a chord with. And I think one of the other things as well is, even when we go back even further than that in terms of to the Garden of Eden, I think one of the reasons why Satan, when he, according to our Bible story, he went after the woman and he came in through because he knew that he wanted to divide this union that God had put together. And it was a joint purpose that God gave them when he gave them this assignment of dominion over the earth, which means that there was a role that the woman was playing even back then along with Adam, when God said it is not good that he should be left alone. And so even from that time, there was this united work that we are supposed to do together. And Satan found a way in terms of to infiltrate that. And I think we've been having, since that time up till now, this pushback that is really causing a division within the family so that we can't carry out the purpose that we're supposed to carry out.
You're getting deep with me today.
Yeah, and we're going to go down some other roads too, but I will lay a foundation so that,
I just swim. I like to swim. Watch me.
Yes.
Are you saying, in a nutshell, because the first thing, the inception of the conversation that you said was the Industrial Revolution.
Yes.
When men were separated. Now, this happened in the United States of America.
Yes.
When they would go off to war and
Yes.
the women would work. But simultaneously, the same thing happened here locally.
Yes.
We call it locally the contract.
Yes.
A great deal of men would have gone off. And this didn't just happen in the Bahamas.
Right.
This happened in other spaces throughout the entire Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Men would go off to seek work and send money back home, right? There's songs about it.
Yes.
Right? There's all these things about a time when there was a separation and this kind of jubilance when daddy came back home, when the
Yes.
husband came back home, when the father came back home. All right.
Yes.
And then you went all the way back to the Garden of Eden.
Yes.
Now, in both scenarios, watch me. In both scenarios, you indicate that there was a very clear separation in pursuit of occupation, in pursuit of taking care of the household. The man wasn't there because he had to take care of the woman. He had to pursue money.
Yes.
Adam wasn't there. He had occupation. He has a responsibility to
Yes.
pursue those particular things. Are you saying to me that this proverbial tree of life is the tree of independence and liberty for women? Are you saying to me that the fruit is biting into the independence of woman that gives her this idea of opening her eyes that I'm liberated. I don't need a man for this. I don't need a man for this. So watching this.
Yes. I will let you finish and then I can go.
I don't need a man for this. I don't need a man for that. I have strength unto myself. And has the result of the digestion of this fruit of independence, this liberty, really contaminated the union between man and woman from then, in the past, and even now? Talk to me about it.
Okay, so I wouldn't say that the fruit was really about the independence of women in that sense. But what I feel like where the infiltration comes in, even from the time of the garden, was that if men and women are not united in whatever the purpose is that they are supposed to carry out, it gives room for the enemy to infiltrate, to break that division. And that's why, again, the family is so important. And so it isn't just a matter of a man and woman coming together because you could find someone. It's about purpose. It's about what is that purpose that God has for those individuals to carry out in the earth realm. And so that's why when you connect with someone, you're supposed to be connecting with someone beyond looks and feelings. You're really supposed to be connecting on a purpose level so that what you're carrying out, not only for you in terms of individually, but your family collectively, and even what comes down the generations, we can see the benefit of that in the earth realm. So when we look at, there was a story, there's something in terms of that I came across when it talked about character, and it was showing the importance of character in terms of, and they gave two distinct individuals. The names are just escaping me right now, but it showed a family of one man who he and his wife were lawless, criminals, getting, just doing everything.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes, against the law. And when they tracked they did a history on the lineage of that family. They came to find out that in that the lineage of that family, that is what that lineage produced. It produced lawless individuals who were in and out of prison and violated the law and all kind of other heinous acts. And then when they trapped a different family where, again, this is a man and woman joined together in unity in terms of people of character and who live together well and all of it, and they tracked that the lineage of that family, they produced successful, law-abiding citizens who contributed greatly to society. And so I'm saying that to say that the unity in terms of male and female and how it's supposed to work, I feel in unity is that there is a purpose in terms of for the man, there is a purpose for the woman, and it's when those two coincide as one and you're moving in terms of with that vision. And I think that is what the enemy is after. So when he's after that unity, there are all sorts of distractions that come into play. So it doesn't even just have to be in terms of a woman in her independent movement. You know, there's distractions that come in terms of money. There's distraction that comes into, outside relationships. There's all sorts of other things that come into play to try to break that down. I think that what happens when it comes to the females is because women have been in that role where they were waiting on the men to provide and to protect them. And then when that doesn't happen and you are disappointed, you are hurt, you are left now with your children and you got to take care of them, you have to rise up and you have to find a way to overcome. And so in that, and in you having to do that, it's not in terms of you trying to be disrespectful to any man or trying to put down any man, but it becomes now a necessity. This is what you have to do because now no one is there doing it for you, whether your covering has left or they occupy with something else, but you've got to now do it for yourself. And you've got to do it in terms of to protect your children. So there is a hardness that does come because now it's like, especially when it comes to the Black woman, it's been the sense of like, okay, we've got to be strong. And I know there's this whole idea of strong Black woman and they hard and rough and, whatever have you. But this idea of having to be strong in order to survive is something that has sort of become a reality for many, in particular women of color, because they've had to find ways to fend for themselves and for their family.
I'm listening and I'm really wrapped up in what you're saying because I could see from a woman's perspective how this can be able to both as an issue. But one of the things that you point out is unity and how the enemy is after the unity. Has he not captured it by now? Are we still, I believe that we socially, I'm not talking about individual persons who are married. In fact, if we look at that now, I think this is why marriage is so celebrated in our society because it's no longer the rule, it's the exception.
Yes.
Wow, you're accepted. Oh my God, even in the church has the highest statistics of divorce.
That's right.
The church.
Yeah.
This is where you preach in every Jesus Day.
Yes.
Where you should be married, where unity is important, where the two shall become one. The church has the highest statistics of divorce.
Yes.
So when we see marriage these days, it's almost the exception when people say, I'm celebrating 20 years this year, right? They say, oh my God, Howard, wow, congratulations, you made it. I'm like, I didn't get a prize. What are you talking about? No one gave me, where's Bob Barker? No. I need something.
No, but it is true. It is true.
And some people celebrate that.
Yes.
But the question that I have is not about the individual. It's about the collective. Has the unity, the idea of unifying, the idea of coming together, has that, and really not just the idea, the understanding of why we're coming together, has that been snuffed away and really deleted and expunged from our society? Has that been taken out and wiped out entirely?
No, so I don't believe it's been wiped out entirely, but I do believe that it definitely has taken a hard hit. And I think that's why even there's an increase in terms of single mothers and parents, because it's like, if you're looking at the people who you think, okay, they're supposed to be the model and supposed to be the mark and they ain't making it, well, then what's the point to this thing? Mm-hmm. And so there isn't, I feel, this drive and this push, I think, for a lot of young women, even today, at the idea of, okay, I need to go get married because at the end of the day, I could be somebody's sweetheart and I could get taken care of, and in fact, in some cases, I could get taken better care of than the wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Because she's the sweetheart.
Right. And so stolen water, sweet, eh? And so, so what happens is, I think all of this is deliberate because
Grammy said stolen bread.
Yeah.
Let's just be very clear. Stolen water, nobody steals water. We steal bread.
you
Water for
understand the
everybody should
literal
get that.
expression that I'm getting at.
Go ahead.
But so I think that what happens is that because you're not seeing it and the example of it in great levels, you look at it and it's like, okay, well, what is there to aspire to? And I think that's what happens. But I want to just get back to something in the clip that you opened with T.D. Jakes, and when he talked about the vulnerability. And see, the thing about vulnerability is that you cannot be vulnerable with everyone.
But how you know?
But that's the thing. Someone got to earn your trust. Because in terms of being vulnerable, it means that you are sharing your pain, your secrets, you're sharing like the keys that unlock your heart. And the thing is, if this person is not worthy of this, then you can expose yourself in terms of to being hurt all over again. So I think that vulnerability comes at a place where someone has earned your trust.
This heavy with
particularly.
you. My God, this can be a good conversation. I want you guys to be a part of it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text 422-4796. It's wild that you said that. It's wild that you said that you have to be able to, know who to be vulnerable with. The first thing that pops up is discernment. And then how do you get discernment? Discernment doesn't just come to you. It's just not one of those things, those inclinations. It comes with a relationship, not necessarily a relationship with human beings, but a divine relationship that gives you the spiritual insight to look beyond the surface. And if you don't have a very clear understanding of the foundation of even your existence as a woman, why you should be here.
Yes.
There are young women that refute the idea of marriage right now, but they're looking for hopes of a relationship. They're quietly within themselves, they're still hoping for that. I believe that's wrapped in our DNA. Mm-hmm. I believe that even though we try to subdue it,
yes,
I believe it's wrapped in our DNA to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue, have dominion over the birds of the air, so forth and so. I believe that that's kind of impact.
It's in us.
It's in us.
Mm-hmm.
We want to produce.
It's coded in us.
Right?
Yes.
It's a part of our code. And if we want to produce, we know that we can't produce with any and everyone, but if we don't have the relationship, a divine relationship, then we don't know who to connect with. So we out here floating like vagabonds. We have to have this conversation.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I think there are a lot of transactional relationships. So it isn't based on necessarily a great sense of purpose and, a sense of, divine order and all of it. It's transactional. So it's like you give me what it is that I want, I give you what you want, and everybody's good.
This is prostitution.
And that wall then is able to stay up.
This is literally the exchange of good. You're bartering your heart and your parts for temporal satisfaction without long-term or even purpose-filled connection.
And that is where I feel we're at today. It's like it's when I think a lot of people find themselves like, hey, I was in that relationship where I gave my heart and my soul, and this man cheated on me. He walked away with the money. I lost the house. Whatever it was the pain is so devastating, and you're saying to yourself, hey, I'm not going to go back through that again.
My God.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a safe ground, or what you perceive as a safe ground, in terms of the means and the ways in which you are going to interact, with another human being.
Kendra, this is a phenomenal conversation. I'm so excited to kind of dive deeper. Ladies and gentlemen, we're only at the pass. I want to take a commercial break and get back to it, but we're only at the past. We're talking about yesteryear. We're talking about the foundation. We're talking about the connection, the existence of how women commune with men historically, and how we can be able to get to a further position. I want to take from when we get back, I want to talk about where we are now. I really need to talk about this because you know how I do my thing. We need to talk past, present, future. How do we get here? Where are we? And where's the expectation of being able to move tomorrow? Guys, please be a part of the conversation. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me on the text 422-4796. 96.9 FM radio, The Foundation, with Howard Grant. Take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
The Foundation. foundation.
At Popeyes, get the chicken sandwich you love, but make it blackened. Marinated in Popeyes blackened seasoning, that is. Our new juicy filet is fried to perfection without the breading, served on a toasted brioche bun. Try it today as a combo or a la carte. Don't forget to choose your level of spice today at any one of our 3 locations.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
When good times are in, I will be with you through thick and thin. I will be with you until the end. I give you my love, I give you everything.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. That's a little bit from Greg Douglas right there. Greg, you see I played your stuff for you, man. Listen, this is absolutely wonderful. We're in the month of love, right in the thick of it, having a conversation, but from a different perspective. I just wanted to kind of do that for you. And today, I'm in the studio with me today is none other than Kendra Bow. Kendra's really being able to put the thing down. Kendra, tell everyone what you do and some of your background before we dive deeper into the second part of this conversation.
All right, Howard. So I am an educator and a counselor. My work has primarily been with at-risk or challenged youth. I served for many years in leadership for the youth ministry at Bahamas Faith Ministries, also overseeing the Youth and Family Center and also doing work with the Ministry of Education along with some of the private schools here on the island as well. So it's afforded me an opportunity not only from my own personal experiences, but also from the experiences of others to really get a good grounding of where we're at right now.
It's an amazing thing that we're having this conversation, and I'm hoping that you'll be a part of it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit us up on the text line, 422-4796. The conversation is about love, not your superficial love that you have and that you share with each other. I'm not talking about this physical aspect. I'm talking about the core understanding of how we connect socially to get to a greater objective, to get to a greater goal, to get to this place of productivity and growth in our society. Now, for far too long, I really feel as though that there's been sort of a disconnect, right? There has been dents in this line of communication that gets us to productivity socially. And I have been one of the persons through conversations trying to identify that. The other day we talked about the inner city and we talked about the inception or the inflection of where that divide came. And Scrooge and Richard was in here and really spoke to us about there has been a separation and this kind of divide in our community in the inner cities as a result of the creeping in of drugs. Right? So they talked about crack cocaine. They talked about these things and how the church fell into itself. Today, we're having a conversation about love. And we're talking from a female perspective. And I am absolutely blown away because I'm learning stuff here. Right? I know God in here. I'm learning stuff, right? And the way that you described it, the description of when during the Industrial Revolution or during the contract time when men separated, right? During even way back into the Garden of Eden when men separated themselves from their wives. There that vulnerability, right? Not being able to close that space, that vulnerability gave the enemy room to get in.
Yes.
And the influence from the enemy forced the woman or gave the woman the idea that she can be able to do some other stuff. Now, there's no expectation that if your husband ain't here, that you shouldn't do something to take care of the home. But there should be a very clear understanding, even from the conversation, is that you cannot leave your family without covering.
Yes.
And I think that has
Yes.
happened sometime, for
Yeah.
some time in our society. And I believe that has really lopsided the way that we even look of how relationships exist now. Right now,
Yes.
Right now, young
Definitely.
women refute the idea. Be in a barbershop and a pretty young lady would walk in, very handsome son. Let's just say that, right? So we in there, all of us, men in here, and a young single woman walks in with her son. Now, first thing in our mind, as men, married men who understand, some of us married, some of us strength. This is the alpha male. Why is this woman bringing a boy to the shop? And so we engage her in conversation, just trying to get to her business. So, hey, how you doing? This me, I writing your business quick, right? Hey, there's a handsome little boy you got here. How much this you only want? Mister, I only want one child. These are the conversations that we engage. And I've done it in more than one incident. And all the results yielded the exact same thing. What I can do with any other children? This one was a mistake. And so when I hear that, my mind instantaneously takes me to the longevity and preservation of our society. But beyond that, that's very selfish of me, be consumed and concerned about society when there obviously is a sense of brokenness here.
Yes.
So I want to know about that. I want to know about what's happening here that places a young woman in the position where, in the pursuit of love, in the pursuit of relationship and all these things, if she even finds herself married or whatever the case may be, the next step when things don't work out is to reject the idea entirely. Has that also been the fruit of independence? What has this been, or what is this that causes a woman nowadays, to say, forget about everything else, I have to be unto myself, I don't want my heart to be broken anymore, and beat every man with the switch of a man that failed you?
Well, I don't know if it's every man, but I know it's a good majority. Right?
Well, I can tell you
and
one
this
thing.
is what I'm going to say.
If you get the majority, you win the government. If you get the majority, you win the government.
No, but what I would say is this, and I think that this is what happened a little bit more back in the day. The men back in the day isn't that they were perfect, but the roles that they carried out at that time made them a necessity, right?
Ooh,
yes.
wow.
So what happened is so if I'm not working and I'm at home taking care of the children, and he's working and he's taking care of the family, he's providing, he's making sure that, what is needed is there for the house. And he may make mistakes, and he may not, I can't have necessarily those deep conversations I want to have, and, all these things would we say today. But he's fulfilling that primary role or function that you need him to. If someone in the yard and okay, he's going to get up and make sure everything
Provider,
is secure.
protector. That's it.
So what happened is he received a level of respect as a result of him fulfilling those duties. Today, it's not the same thing. I'm working, so I don't necessarily need you to provide for me in the same way that you provided for me back then, because I'm working now. So now it's a joint thing. So now you got to do a little something different or extra to get the same measure of respect that daddy could have get back in the day, because it was only him. And then also when it comes even to the protection aspect, like women find themselves having to find ways to protect themselves in terms of being out there and figuring out how to do things.
So they clan. They got the sister, the auntie, everybody.
Right.
They find clans.
To find ways in terms
Wow.
of to survive. So even when you talk about the lady taking a son in terms of to the barbershop, so if if the daddy isn't present for whatever reason, if he is neglecting his responsibility, if he's to work, whatever the case may be, but she's taking him to the barbershop because the reality is the boy here needs to get cut and I have to take him to get the haircut.
Nobody else.
So if I'm already doing those things that traditionally we looked at and say, okay, this is what a
male
man
will,
would do,
yeah.
a male will do, and I have to do it myself. So now when a male steps to a female and she's already having to find ways to fend in terms of without you, you've sort of made yourself irrelevant to a certain degree.
But not me.
I ain't saying you.
No.
But,
I'm saying to you, the next step, right? The next man shouldn't get whipped with the former man's
but that's
switch.
why there is sort of like a vetting process. You got to prove yourself.
But she still don't have. Okay, for the most part, this process is devoid of any spirituality.
Yes.
This process is a physical process of survivability. I have to survive.
Survival of the fittest.
Right. And in the midst of this survival, I have to also guard my heart.
Yes.
All right. I guard my heart. I have to guard my space. I have to provide. I have to protect. All these things are on my shoulder. This process, even when she met the fellow the first time, was devoid of any spirituality or any longevity. Was there an overarching purpose
And that is, I think, where
of why we should even get together?
Why I think that's where we are having the issue in society today, because I think when it comes to love, is people is not the understanding of the different types of love and what you need to be developing or look for or whatever have you. So right now, it's like it was an understanding, I feel more so back then, that this love, like this is, you're in it to win it. This is about longevity. This is about our family. And this is till death do us part. I think now it's more so, okay, let's hook up. And so now let's and because we're hooking up, it's more about the sexual love. It's more about eros love. So once that fades, then really there's nothing else to keep the two together. But when there is a deeper love, so you are moving in God's purpose, so there's that agape love. Both of you are aligning in terms of with God's purpose for your lives and for your family. So you've got that foundation laid. And then there's the friendship love, that you're getting to know this other person on a friendship level. So even sometimes when you're mad at each other, or that eros love, that kind of feeling and romantic love isn't always there, that friendship is there. And the basis of that friendship is a love and a trust. So you know, okay, I'm mad with this person, but I know deep down this person got my back. I know this person, doesn't really wish no harm on me. I know that, okay, hey, if something go down, hey, this person got me. So when that foundation isn't there and you just relying solely on that eros love, then once that fades, that's gone.
The question I have for the next generation, because I feel like there has been this callous, there has been this wall that has engulfed and grown over the hearts, the feminine heart, the soft part of a woman that so much of us men don't just want. We may not even know that we need it, but it's a necessity, because that is what develops me as a man. There's this concept that exists socially, and people say it, whether flippantly or whether there's statistical data and information that can be able to support this. The maturity of a woman comes early. A woman's much more mature than me. When they was 12 years old, it was woman. And we were still out here playing games, right? As they develop and have a different view and perspective of life, they start to judge us, even in the midst of our immaturity as men, as young boys. Even in the midst of our immaturity, a young lady would look at us and say, okay, this one got potential, that one got potential. There was a very clear understanding of an overarching thing. This one could provide, this one could protect. He can do this in due time and due season. But they knew that he couldn't do this without them being able to articulate it, They can't put their finger on why they even say he have potential. I like him. They don't know why. But in retrospect, there's a very clear understanding that whilst they looked at young boys and say, well, he got potential, they knew that he couldn't find that potential without one element. And the element was the love that they carried in their heart. How can you feed a man that if you grow callous around your heart? You got this hard, stone heart now, and you can't feed the young man. Is there any expectation that society would be anything other than just havoc.
What it is now.
What it is right now.
Yeah.
The superficiality that exists here. If you can't feed me from the core of your heart, how you can feed me from your heart already then stone cold.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think Steve Harvey's book was so successful when he did that relationship book. And I think it was because he was advising women to, hey, don't be so quick to give it away. And I think once you do that and you don't build that friendship where you truly get to know someone and that vetting person,
it's heavy what you're saying.
Then that vetting process is no longer the same after you then free. It's a different scenario after that.
Watch me. My God, just getting deep today. We only have a couple of minutes before we get out of here, but I can touch this quick. And then we got to go to news. A man's objective is to get a woman.
Yes.
Now, in the midst of immaturity, we still have physical emotion. We still we are aroused by women. Their scent, their look, the structure of their face, their hair, all this. We love women. And most of us don't necessarily understand why. This may be that sort of superficial, let's get together, sexual love that we're thinking of. But there is a greater objective here.
Right.
There is a greater objective here. And what I'm hearing now is that if we don't know that we were supposed to get to you, to get something more from you, to develop ourselves, to be able to build ourselves to the man that God has called us to be, after you give us the goodies, talk to me.
Right.
We feel like we win.
That's it.
After you would have given us the goodies and the cookies, and we would have consumed that and had our fill, some men call it milk. You give us the milk and the cow and so forth and so on, but we've made no commitment.
None whatsoever.
No commitment to you for
None
long
whatsoever.
term. Then you still end up at the same spot.
and
So two
that's-
broken people here. You got a broken man and a broken woman.
Yes.
After she's given of herself. When I get back, because we got to take a commercial break. When I get back, I want to talk to that aspect, to the strength of a woman, and to the core of her love and the pursuit of what a man wants. Because a man could identify different types of women. And once we identify that and we say, okay, well, I like this one, or I like that one, and I know I could get a little slice from her, but I will marry this one.
Yeah. Oh, I got a story on one or two of that situation for you too.
Right? Let's talk about those things, because a man pursues his desire. We as men, we have an insatiable desire for more and more sex. That's just what it is. Okay? Your former pastor and BFM would have told you that a man needs sex.
Yes.
And after we would have gotten our fill of sex, if you have nothing else to deposit in us, we reject you and we throw you away. Right? So I want to talk about that and being able to not only guard your heart, but understand when it's time to be able to take that next step. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking Black femininity. We're talking about the strength of who we are as a society. And I only labeled it Black because of February. I believe that this conversation could be able to span across all ethnicities to really be able to find the core of who we are as a people. I'm having great conversations, man. I'm hoping that you enjoyed it. This is Guardian Radio 96.9. Please give me a call when we get back. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit us up with a text, 422-4796. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant, sitting in the studio with Kendra Bow, really being able to break down where and when did we go wrong. Now, we're going to take a quick commercial break and get to news and be right back after this.
Whether your business is in-store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient so that you can take your business anywhere. For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents are the best. Reliable reliable service we've been on the scene, protecting since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You're always covered me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
Divania's grilled food and products are now open in the Kenneth Plaza, Prince Charles Drive. Come, you must try their jerk chicken, jerk pork, and all their amazing grilled food. Grilled daily to perfection, using all their amazing sauces made right here in the Bahamas. Divania's, grilling good food for life. Call or WhatsApp Divania's today at 817-4468.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I will be with you through thick and thin. I will be with you until the end. I give you my love, I give you everything. I do what's right, baby, 'cause you've been my life. The love is here, baby, you know I take good care.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is 96.9 FM Radio. Howard Grant and your company with the foundation, really being able to chop it down for you. And that is my good friend, Greg Douglas. The song is called I Will Be With You. It's a single. You can definitely be able to find that. I think it's on iTunes. Where am I looking at it right now? Apple Music. You can be able to pick it up on there. It's a single. You can definitely be able to do that and see exactly what's what. Now, you know, he was the head of Asajj at one time. So this is the revival of some things. Greg, you're doing a wonderful job, my brother. Continue to be able to do as much as you're doing and pouring out into this. This is a little sexy song, right? You say, Howard, you got to dedicate that to your wife. So, any more dedication to her, we can be in the hospital in 9 months again. You'll need to stop it, right? But today, I'm on the eve of Lover's Day. We're having good conversation with Kendra Bow. She's here in the studio with us. And she's really being able to chop it down. I'm really, really enjoying the conversation with her. When we were gone, we just talked about the history. On the first hour, really being able to talk about the first half, we were talking about the foundation. Sort of the core and the inception of relationships and where we may have gone wrong, right? And, I have a way of being able to pull out of the conversation where I see, right? And so she started off with the conversation about the Industrial Revolution and the separation of men being able to pursue finances and a woman being left alone to fend for herself in many ways. And then she went even further back to talk about the Garden of Eden experience where Adam would have been able to gone off and left the woman there alone. So the idea that I had, kind of pieced it together, the idea that this is my idea, right? That as a result of this separation, the fruit that the quote unquote proverbial fruit that woman ingested, that she's eaten, was the fruit of independence, the fruit of liberty, the idea that she can do this herself. And the question is, has that contaminated everything going forward? Yes, no, maybe so. Kendra, I want to talk to you about where we are now. We talked about the history, and I want to talk to you about a mystery. And what is mysterious for me is the fact that women would give of themselves some of the most precious things that life has to offer. This is how we see it as men. This productivity and this innovation, this growth and all these things like that is not as a result of us being able to be innovation. We create these things to get a woman. That's what I mean. Talk to me. No one needs a Lamborghini, right? No one needs a Ferrari. Not really. We just need it to get from here to there. And the fancier we did it, we knew that, I could do less talking to get to the objective. Why do you believe a woman would give herself, her vulnerability, her most inner parts, her heart and her flesh, to a man without a surety, without these particular things, right? Without any sense that there is hope for tomorrow? Why would she get? Because that's all our pursuit is. And if we could get it willy-nilly, then is there any expectation that society would be able to grow if you just given away yourself? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I think what that comes down to is the fact in terms of how women are made up. And so we are more emotional beings. And so we are moved in a greater way of what we hear versus men who are moved more by what they see. And so once someone comes and they're saying all of the right things, and you're perceiving it that they got character and they're going to live up to what they're saying,
you get swing.
Yeah, you get swing.
Go on.
And so what happens is then they're saying all the things that makes you feel like they are going to protect you and provide for you and be there for you and all of it. And so what happens is, like a flower, a woman opens up. And then when she opens up, once he's in most instances has gotten what he wants.
Take the pollen.
He's gone. And so I think...
but it doesn't happen in every incident, in every instance.
It doesn't happen in every instance, and I think that's only when purpose. There was something about the individual that aligned with that individual's purpose, and something about the friendship somehow that they connected on a friendship level. It allowed it to go further.
I want to tell you a little piece of my story without getting in my business, because my wife, she's getting a little, oh my God, why are you talking about my business? No, I just want to tell you, when I met my wife, so I went off to school in Cuba, and I had no intentions of getting married, none. Now, I know from a child, I wanted to get married. Mm-hmm. This is what I've seen all my life.
Right.
My grandmother married, my uncles, all my uncles, no matter how indecent they are and all these old stories they tell, they married today.
Yes.
This is what I saw when I grew up. Mm-hmm. My father married, my mother, everybody married in my family. I knew I wanted to get married, right? And so I would pray about it when I was a child. Lord, I want this, this, and this. When I find my wife, I want this, this, and this. When my daddy would, chastise me and deal with me strong and discipline me, I'd say, boy, when I get my children, I ain't doing this. So I always had in my subconscious, this is the sort of a path I wanted to go.
Yes.
Right? But I go into Cuba. I was an 18-year-old, and I like thumper. I'm ready to go, right? So I'm in Cuba now, and even the pursuit and the ideas that they would have taught, and people would tell you, boy, Cuba, you get into Cuba, all them gals, Jesus, right? So I went there with that kind of an intent, and that idea, right? And when I went there, I was introduced to my now wife. She's a Bahamian. She went to school with us, right? As I got to know her and knew her heart, because I had no intent, I ain't looking for no girlfriend. But when I knew her heart, something came out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, this woman would be an excellent mother for my children. Mm-hmm. This was simultaneously when I was falling in love with the woman. Ain't never touch her, Never touch her, never had one ill thought of turning the woman upside down. None of these things come in my head. All I said, this is a decent woman, my God. She know the whole Bible and all the hymn books. This is a good mother for my children. This is what I said.
Yes.
And so my point to you is that when we see these things as men, this is the forerunner. I knew right then.
Yes.
I got to make this woman mine. Yes. I can't let nobody. That doesn't necessarily happen with every single. That doesn't happen all over the place. And it may not have happened for me if I didn't have the examples in my childhood growing up.
And I think, that's the other part in terms of what it comes down to, which is the training that we've had or what we have been exposed to. So if people are in environments where they haven't been exposed to a model of what is possible, what they should be looking for, what is honorable or what is right, then they only have what they have been exposed to. And then people just tend to settle. Or even if they try it, but they don't have enough information. They don't have enough knowledge in terms of making it work. And I think that's why there's a lot of failure. So you had mentioned earlier in terms of the church, people know that this is the honorable thing to do, but in most instances, they don't have the knowledge they need in terms of what it really takes to make it work. And so many people have not built a relationship in terms of a friendship level so that love and trust is there. Okay, an attraction was there. Okay, yes, I could see you have some values to say, okay, we'll make you a good woman or a good mother to my children or whatever, but they didn't take the time to continue to build on those connections to make it last. So when you can look at making it last, there's some work that you all had to do during that process to make that happen. And I think many people don't do that. And if they fall back on whatever their experiences were in the past or whatever they grew up with or their training was, then it leads to that place of failure.
I only know about making it last. I only know about my grandmother cussing out my granddaddy and he still loving her. He said, boy, I don't get in that.
Yes.
Don't get in that, baby. I said, Papa, you don't say nothing back there. I only know about my mother cussing out my father and, just being able to deal with it in front of us where they had their issues. I know about this. I know about my uncles and their wives arguing. I know about these things. I've never one time ever saw an argument in my family with, the married couples in my family and ever thought somebody can get up and leave. I've always understood that
you can argue and then
but you ain't getting nowhere.
We don't go nowhere.
Not that and it wasn't no hating argument. Grammy would cuss you out and say, well, if you're mad, that's your business because I am mad. And we would laugh. We would laugh about it. But I always knew that this was an element that I couldn't be afraid of. That I had to deal with straight on.
And I think that's why even in terms of some relationships that have lasted even beyond infidelity, it's that, okay, there could have been this infraction that took place. But if that foundation is there, that love, that respect, someone has a remorse for what they did, you're willing to make it work, then we could move past this. But I think what's missing is that foundation was never really there to begin with in a lot of instances. And the character in terms of the individuals also being lacking. So I think that stimulation of what you see and what you feel in the moment, a lot of people ride that wave until it goes and then there really isn't anything else there. And this is where teaching and training comes in terms of people understanding that there's more to it than that.
And I see a telephone call. I can come to you right now. Do you believe that there is? Okay, this is how I see it. This and you tell me if I right or wrong. Right. I don't believe that younger women who come from single mother homes or single parent homes have a clear understanding that there may be turmoil. I don't think that they do. I have some friends who would have gotten married. Now, this don't go for everyone, but this is the experiences that I've had. I had some friends who would have gotten married to women who came from single mothers and friends who came from single mothers. So these are two children or offsprings of single parents getting married. They've never seen this example. They've never lived with this example. And at the very inflection, at the very first indifference, at the very first argument, there is a time of separation, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I just row.
Yeah.
Regular. It's like this, I just row. You understand? I just row.
Yes.
But I never came back. Listen, if I separate from you, we finish.
Yes.
Jesus can tell you that. And that is what happened in the relationship. They married. Decent people. They have great aspirations to do great things. But at the inflection of turmoil of indifference, they decided, I think we need to separate and go our ways.
Yeah.
Is that as a result of not being able to see the fight, the struggle to get to this position?
Right, to have that example that you could model after and know that, okay, hey, you could argue, you could have disagreements, and you can make it past this. And then I think even in terms of, individuals having, I think it was Michelle Obama, who I heard, who gave a quote in terms of marriage. And she said in her marriage, it was never 50-50. She said sometimes it was 70-30, 60-40, whatever have you. She said because they were always in different seasons. But when you realize that you are with the right person and that you got to continue to work this, then you continue to work through those stages until it gets to the better days. But that example, they had examples. Michelle, I know for sure, she had an example. So it helps you in terms of you have a framework to say, oh, you could have an argument, you could have a disagreement, whatever it is, but we could still move and we could still work past it. That's why the marital counseling part is also important before getting married.
They don't do that, though.
Not all churches, but some do. Some do.
But what is marital counseling if your pastor didn't get married 68 times? It's hard to be able, and that is how people encourage you. Child, you getting that man for marital counseling? He can't tell me nothing but marriage because boom, boom, boom. And so this adds to another element. But let me take the telephone call.
Okay.
Guys, please give me a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text, 422-4796. Calling on the line with us live. Thanks so much for holding. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. We're on the line with us live. The caller's left. give me a call back, guys, please. We're into the conversation. And, these are the type of conversations that we have to get a well-rounded view out, because I know a lot of persons have their views, their perspectives, and they want to kind of inject that in there. I got a couple texts that I want to kind of read to get that to you. Says, man, I got to laugh because the indecency is arrived. Let's see if we can read this. It says, Howard, the new independent now, okay, good day, Howard. The topic, I have a lot of strong independent female friends who has this same mindset, and some had bad experience with men, which caused them not to trust or shut down from having thoughts of getting into a next relationship or marriage. They turn to sex toys, even they turn to lesbianism. This is a text that actually comes through. Then it says, Howard, the new independent nowadays ain't falling in love like that. They have male friends to fulfill certain desires, then the man has to go. My female friends say they only need men to lift 5-gallon bottles. Let me read this, right? So they only need men to lift 5-gallon bottles and to service their oil. This the text. This is, I tell you, the indecency has arrived, right? So to service their oil, and that's not to comment on no connections or love. Say things change, bro. And this is the text that actually came through. Let's see if we can be able to read another text. This is great show, Howard. Sad to say that women of today have no morals or respect for themselves. Everything is transactional with them. They can't even spell the word love. So naturally, men treat them as such because they are so materialistic. Chivalry is dead. This is what the text has said, right? And so these are some things the persons are saying. It says, boy, Howard, I'm dealing with a man right now whose mother nor father was ever married. And after 6 years, he still doesn't see the value of marrying me. I feel like a conk. This is crazy. this is bananas that people are saying these things. Yes. After 6 years, the man didn't understand why he married you. Yeah.
So what I would want to say in terms of it, based on a few of the comments, and I would use this in terms of my experience, is that so when I went through turbulence in my marriage, we're talking about the coldness and the callousness of heart, right? And I think so what happens is a lot of women walk around with unforgiveness, right? You have been hurt. And this is not in terms of me saying this, in terms of you casting blame, man or woman side or whatever. We're just talking about the realities of relationships. And so you've been hurt, you've been betrayed, and you cannot believe in terms of the depth of the measure of the betrayal. So to protect yourself, you're putting up that wall. And what it really comes down to is an unforgiveness, because you feel like if you are vulnerable, then what if you break? You know, if you are vulnerable, what if you get hurt again? And so you're trying to protect yourself against that. But one of the things that I found, and this is where you put your trust in God and then maintain your vulnerability, is that when you put your confidence in God and not man, and you trust him to protect you, you trust him to make whatever provisions are necessary to align you in terms of to the right people, it allows you to still maintain the vulnerability. But the unforgiveness sometimes that I think that we as women hold on to is it takes a while when you have been betrayed to say, oh, I'm going to release that person and I'm going to be okay with them being happy and finding happiness. Because we often hear it said forgiveness is for you and it's not for the other person, but it takes a while to grow to that level of maturity. But I can tell you one of the things God did with me in my experience. My husband was unfaithful, and we had already separated. And I was being directed by God to go and purchase him a shirt. I can't remember what was happening at the time.
A funeral.
A shirt. So I said, purchase a shirt. So I'm having this internal conversation with myself, like, you can't be serious. I'm going to purchase a shirt for him, for who, for why?
Jesus, I come again.
I went and I said, okay, I can be obedient. I can purchase a shirt. So I go on the Cost-Rite. So I said, I can purchase a Cost-Rite shirt. Mm-hmm. And as I was in there, and I
can tell you that God wasn't in this decision.
But as I picked up the shirt, I think the shirt was $13.99. And so,
that's too expensive, Jesus.
So I felt this quickening that said, would you have bought that shirt if y'all was on good terms? And I would not have purchased that shirt if
Not
you
no
wanted it.
$13.99 with this one.
And so it's put it back. And so I put the shirt back. And I went and I purchased a shirt, a designer shirt that I knew, would be more to his liking.
Did he ask you for this, or this is just...
He didn't ask me for this.
But you
I was
it.
prompted to go and purchase this shirt. But I'm getting to forgiveness. And I was just back and forth in terms with God as to why is God telling me, having me to go and purchase this shirt. And I purchased that shirt, and that took away from my pride, because I would not with him having done what I gonna go purchase a shirt and a nice shirt on top of it.
Caught up with another woman.
And you understand. And but when I did it, let me tell you what happened. The unforgiveness that I was holding on to, it broke.
Really?
And so it comes back to that scripture, and it says, you overcome evil by doing good. And so what happens, and I just want to say this to any women who are listening in, is that yes, it hurts, the betrayal hurts, but what that hardness on your heart, not only is it impacting your life, but it's also going to affect and impact your children's lives. Because whether you believe it or not, it's going to affect your ability to give and receive love, not just on a romantic level, but on any level. And so you have to release that, and you have to learn to forgive. And one of the ways is you've got to find ways to do good. That's how you're going to overcome it. And it allowed a release from that which I was holding on to.
Tomorrow I want to get into a conversation like this as we talk from the perspective of males. I have a Dr. Pancho. I think it's Pancho. He's out of Chicago. And he's really going to be talking to us. He has Caribbean roots here in Grenada, and really being able to talk to us from that perspective. So I want to talk about that. And I really want to talk about this kind of an idea that exists with men of how we can be better men. Because I feel as though a lot of us haven't been groomed. That coming of age says to us, well, you got to go sow your royal oats. This idea of being loose like a goose. And that being able to be synonymous with manhood is one of the things that we grow up with. That's what we grow up with.
Yeah.
Simultaneously with the conditioning of society that says to us that this is where you find your strength as a man, your ability to get women, your ability to convince women to give you their nature, their softest, most inner parts, to get you that, and whatever it takes to get that, do it. This is our conditioning. Now, women don't understand that. Women don't see that because they only can see their hearts. But all we see is a task as a man. We see how I could be able to tell, boy, you got game, boy. You got this, you got that. And you learn to develop that skill set to be able to say whatever you can, whenever you can, to get to the objective. And the objective from our forefathers being able to give us information is the cookies. Talk to me.
Yeah. But you know what I'd like to say, Howard? This just popped into my mind, because a lot of what I learned too was in being around young men, from the programs and everything, and listening to them and them saying, no man, Miss Bo XYZ, and they filling me in terms of the way men think and young men think and all of it. And so you understand that there is this game, that's what you've been taught. Yes, that's what you go after, and you say whatever you feel is necessary in order to get it.
Watch me. And the only thing that separates you from this quote unquote game is to be able to live and experience the fact that this is not a game.
Yes.
And so I see it with my father that this is not a game.
Yes.
If this is a game, he would go on a long time.
Yes.
I see it with my grandfather. This is not a game. When my grandmother say, Lionel, you never had nothing before I met you. And all us mouth, oh, Jesus, Pa, you can never say things like that. And all of us have a very clear understanding. And when the dust is settled, he says to us, baby, women can say what they have to say.
Yes.
Don't let that deter you from being able to love her. This is what I learned.
Yes.
But that ain't what society tell me.
No.
Because the barbershop will say, it's a game.
Yes. And so what he showed you is that you're not moving based on your feelings. You're moving based on the decision that you made, and you're honoring that. And this is where young men and young women need to understand where the difference lies. Like, okay, there's a time when you could run loose or run free or whatever have you. But then when it's time to get serious and you're talking about family and building a family and understanding how important that is, there's some tools you need, there's some information you need that's going to help you so that you can have longevity in that journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I see your telephone calls. I want you to be able to get in there. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me with a text, 422-4796. Let's take this telephone call and be right back. Let's just take the telephone call. We can go to the break. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Howard, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Right here, man. Enjoying this conversation. Good afternoon to your guests as well. I'd just like to offer just one or two of my opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you find that in most relationships, and ironically, you know, tomorrow is Valentine for the rest of them, or for everyone else who says that they are in love. My concept of that is, like I told several persons, you know, if you're going to just use one day to express your love, then it should be 365 instead of that one day, then it means something is definitely wrong. But anyway, I'm not going to take anything away from them. The thing is, you know, when it comes down to relationships, your strength, your partner is supposed to be able to draw up your strength as you also draw up her strength.
Agreed.
You know, where the disciplinarians as the male role model is supposed to be, they're the nurturers as a female, and, you know, there's that yin and yang, that balance. You're going to find that in lots of cases, you know, you'll find that when one person is hurt, you know, is hurt by someone else, they tend to drag that into a current relationship if they are not if they have not taken the time to heal and get the necessary not just nurturing but get wise counsel from persons who may have already gone through it, would have healed and also help you to get through your hurt and pain. And it goes vice versa. You have the men playing the games with the women playing the games on the men. In fact, now more than ever, you know, including, you find that it seems as if there's more, women play more vulnerable, and they everything time to heal each. Just try.
Jeff, you're breaking up. You're breaking up, Jeff. I can't hear you. You're coming and you're going. Give me a call back when we can be able to get a straight line, but I always appreciate your contribution and being able to do these things. Guys, let me read a few texts. It says, good day to you and your guests. I'm a mother of 3. I've been single for a while. I've been doing everything on my own for a while. Stuff like even taking my gas tank to refill and hooking it back up, changing my own tire, stuff like that. And when I met a guy, it was hard for me to relax and allow him to take charge in certain stuff. He always says to me, let that Negro die. This is the PG version. Let that Negro die. It's hard to allow myself to be vulnerable again.
Yes.
And this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But see, listen, I can say this, and you could tell me whether or not I'm wrong or right. I need your vulnerability.
Yes.
I don't need your hardness, because two of us can't be man in here. Let's be very clear. I don't need you to be hard with me, baby. If I hear with you, I need the soft parts of you that we can be able to see the balance in our relationship in the home. I need that soft part of you. Now, if you forget where that is, then I'm going to have to reevaluate whether or not we should even be together.
No, you got to help her.
How? I don't know how to. I never been to a woman.
No, but you have to help, meaning your love or the love that you give is able to help her release some of what she's holding on to.
I watched that in Medea movies.
Yes.
And I said,
it is true.
The little soft, the light skin one with he had the hair roll back. Yes. I can't remember which one this was. Was this a Diary of a Black
Woman?
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah. I can't do that. I can't do all that. Listen, if you didn't show me, you show me your bad parts and so forth and so on, even though I recognize that there is a softer woman in there, I may not have the patience. Society ain't giving me the time for that. I ain't got time for that. I got things to do.
Yeah, man. But if you feel the woman is
worth it every day.
No, if you feel that she is worth it, then you would be willing to invest that time. But I think that one of the things I would want to leave with the viewers in terms of women, even in terms of having gone through their hurt, sometimes God would bring men into your life to be friends, not necessarily for a romantic relationship. And sometimes you end up in a romantic relationship because you're looking to fill that void. You're looking to feel something that you haven't felt in a while. But that friendship was supposed to help bring some of the healing without you muddying the water. And so you sometimes you need to really take a step back and just allow God to use, because see, God works through people. And so God could have sent, it could have been a coach, your children's coach, or, just someone from the church, someone in the community, whoever it may be, to just check on you and to assist. And it isn't for you because now they're assisting and they are providing some watering for you to feel that now you've now got to take it another step further. Because once you do that, you lose the benefit of that relationship and the longevity of what it's supposed to provide.
Let me see if I can read another text, guys. Please hit me up, 422-4796, 422-4796, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. You can hit up, give us a call on any of those lines. So it says, hi, Howard and your guests. I grew up in an environment, home, neighborhood, etc., where there was police, ambulance, and CID type fights, right? So my example was traumatic. Never seen reconciliation. Their wives just could not leave as they had nowadays to just go. So after more than 20 years married, mine ended. Of course, you see it in retrospect, but when you're in it, you don't see it. It's not as easy as you're expressing while you're living it. So this person is saying that foundationally, she has seen so much trauma. Yes. That after 2 decades of commitment, even her relationship found its separation. Maybe, and the question I have, and I feel like this text is really saying, could that be as a result, in retrospect, of the trauma that I grew up and developed in?
And it definitely would have played a part in it. But I think with any relationship, we're discussing the romantic ones. But if you look at any of your relationships that have lasted, there is a foundation as to why those relationships have lasted. And both individuals had to grow with the seasons that you were in that relationship. So sometimes you're not as close, you don't talk as much. Sometimes you could have had falling out or whatever. But when you've built sort of that trust with that person, and this person has been there for you in hard times, and they may have done something later on that you didn't like, but then you still knew you could come back on that person. It allowed the relationship to thrive through even difficult times. And I think with romantic relationships, I think we get so caught up into feelings. And so we don't, that the time that we need to continue to evolve in those other areas, we don't do it. And so we lose each other around the bend. And so once children are grown or mortgage is paid off or whatever criteria it was that was there that allowed someone to hold on to a certain period, once you reach those benchmarks, then there's no more reason to stay together.
My God, let's take the commercial break, guys. But let me read this text before we get out of here. It says, great show, Howard, as usual. The Bahamas is different. We hit and then find out what the female name later. You need to stop it with your indecency. It's too rich. And this only text I'm reading. Don't look at me funny. You're looking at your radio. Jesus, I'm reading the text. And it's more than that. Let's be able to get it, guys. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant with the Foundation. Let's take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
The Foundation. The Foundation.
You've got a sweet tooth? Come and get a sweet treat. Platinum Pastries, something sweet, something savory, and all around delicious. Come and get a taste of our famous conky, conch patties, danishes, cheesecakes, and the island's best bread. Freshly baked daily, homemade cookies, ginger lemonade, or a little gully wash. 6 days a week. We've got it all. Platinum Pastries, Carmichael Road West in the Old Dad's Plaza. Open 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. weekdays and 8 to 5 on Saturday. Get your orders in today at 341-8522 or 466-8522.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Whether your business is in store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient, so that you can take your business anywhere. For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic, and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT. Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The Foundation. The Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant with the Foundation, really being able to chop it down with you. Now, you heard Platinum Pastries on there. I just want to be able to say it for you. My good guys down there, Mr. Bodie over at Platinum Pastries, he's made a commitment. He's done what he said that he would do and created a commercial for us. Now, he just wanted me to kind of drive home how people don't know where Old Dad's Plaza is. Well, Old Dad's Plaza is right across the street from the tire shop when you're headed west on Carmichael. After you pass Scotiabank and then you get to the tire shop, it's right south of that, right on the left-hand side if you're headed west. Right, so it's right there in the plaza. You'll see the big sign that says Platinum Pastries on the side of Universal. Please go there and support my guy. I want to thank you so very kindly for your commitment and being able to do this stuff. And guys, if you want to be a part of that also, you know that this is the time that we're going to be able to plug that. Please come and do some stuff with us. Thursday is coming up. It'll be a day after 2 days after Lover's Day, but you'll have a lot of baskets. Talk to me. You're still going to have a tremendous amount of baskets. I see you all up and down Carmichael Road selling baskets. You're selling everything, but you ain't called me yet. Who coming to your store to get basket? They look small anyhow. Talk to me and tell me the value of those things and which you can be able to do that. Please give me a call, 827-0111, 827-0111. Upgrade your game, man. Do something for Small Business Thursday. Talk about your business. Talk about how persons can be able to get in there and why. What separates you and your business from what everyone else is doing? I won't know. If the only thing that we're doing is driving past, talk to me about it. Let's be able to get some things done on Small Business Thursday. It's a time for you to be able to get that done. 827-0111 or give us a call, 302-2300. So we're going to wrap up this conversation and really talk to the futuristic aspect of how things are going to happen. And I'm sitting in the studio, ladies and gentlemen, with none other than Kendra Bo. She's really been dynamic today. You have really been able to, listen, I like to have these conversations. You can see that. But like I was saying on the break, it's very important that we sort of raise the level of conversation.
Yes.
So, once you raise the level of conversation, it wouldn't just be divulgence and people just regurgitating and giving you their feelings, kind of just vomiting it up, right? If you raise the level of conversation, it can lead to introspection. It could lead to, where did I go wrong? Did I go wrong? Am I the person? Am I this? Am I that? Once we do that, and that's just what the idea is, let's raise the level of conversation and let persons know where we are and what the structure of these things. Because I'm not here to tell you that my relationship is the best. I'm not here to do that. I love my wife, and I have to keep reminding her that I love her on a day-to-day basis. And I have to remind myself because life happens. Right? The inconsistencies of what your expectations are and what you'd like to see and how things work with you and how you take those things on and how you be able to commune with each other. It changes over the years. It's 2 decades.
Yes.
I've been with a woman. So even in those 2 decades, we grow to love each other. And every dispensation, every level brings a different devil. Let's just be very clear about that, right? And how do we get to that? How do we navigate to get to productivity, to get to growth, and still be able to commune and love each other as we go forward? All these conversations have to happen.
Yes. So I think it's understanding the fact that women need love and men need respect. That's a fundamental thing in my work, even in my work in terms of with challenge youth, my work in the prison.
It's heavy what you're saying. Say
Women need love and men need respect.
Let this sink into the people right now. Women need love and men need respect. There's a pride that we carry around.
Yes.
There is an ego
Even
that we
when
carry
you're wrong.
around. Listen, we could be wrong and strong, and Jesus is gonna have to tell us different.
Yes.
We could be wrong and strong, but don't you dare see.
Yes.
And guess what?
And it's so true.
I
because
promise you, from here to God, you could tell me I'm wrong, you know, but you ain't gonna tell me with no row.
Yes.
You could now listen, baby. Later.
Yeah.
Not now. Later. Listen, baby. You said something. I just want to talk about that. This is what I think, and we would take your perspective.
Yes.
But you can't beat us down in a row for that.
Yeah. And I think it's different ways too, because it's also knowing your partner's love language. So it's knowing even the way in which they would receive the respect from you, even when you're coming at them for something that needs to be corrected. And that is important, I feel, because when you understand that, it helps in terms of you overcoming the hurdles. So like I was saying, even in my work in terms of in the prison, one of the things, because I learned this very early on in dealing with the young men. So when I graduated to go to the prison, that was the first thing I did. And when I started to present, the first time I did a presentation, there was one man, like off the bat, he was like very abrasive towards me, like, who you think you come in here to look down on us? So it's like that's what he probably thought when I was coming to present. And after he saw me deal with them in terms of with respect, he sort of became my biggest fan. And so he's like, oh, I saw you on TV, boy, I like that red hair, So his whole energy shifted when I gave that respect.
Wow.
And that is, so even when I see some of them on the outside, they hail me before I could see them because they remember the way I treated them.
That's crazy what
I
you're saying.
treated them with respect.
You know what you're saying to me is that right off the bat, at the onset, when you step into a space with this kind of authority and being able to speak to a specific position, men have sort of a flashback to a space when they felt, less than. Then they felt that women might have been condescending to them, or this is what they would have felt throughout their relationship with women. Never being able to have an opportunity to be able to speak, always being spoken down to, and always being rejected. Like the only thing that you offer is sex. You are not good for anything else. And that really diminishes the ego, the strength of a man. And so when you see them curl into themselves, that's hard.
Yeah.
But you're saying to me that as you spoke and you gave this sort of respect.
Respect. I let them know. I said, I'm not just
there was
here.
reciprocity there.
I'm here to learn from you as well.
My God.
And as I spoke to them, I'm telling you, those who had on shades lifted their shades. Some stood, some clapped, because they was
a respectful, decent woman.
Respectful in terms of what I was showing.
Did not take anything from you?
Yes. No, didn't take anything from me in doing that. But but let me tell you where I learned it. How God taught me it. He taught me it with that same husband who was doing ungodly things, right? But he was teaching me, even through the pain, right? This is how you still got to deal with him, because you all still got children. You still got to deal with him a certain way. You still got to talk to him a certain way. You still got to do certain things that you don't want to do. You still got to pray for him even when you don't want to. And I had to do those things, and it brought a result back.
I can get deep with you. This is your business now. What would you do different now if you were to engage in a relationship with an expectation of being able to go long term and get married and so forth and so on? What would you do different now?
Friendship.
So friendship is important.
Because when you have not built that foundation in terms of friendship, so you know one another, right? So I understand even when you ain't talking, I know you well enough to know why you ain't talking or what's going on with you, as opposed to me being a wife and saying, okay, what this problem is today. I then dealing with the children or XYZ. When there is a friendship, there is a different attitude you have towards the issues because you know the person now. You get the person, you understand the person. That's why the scripture says, in all you're getting, get understanding. So when you have that friendship, it allows you to understand someone on a whole greater level.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
Men don't feel like some men don't feel like that's important, you know.
Yeah, but
because they always associate friendship with this long conversation. Girl, you wouldn't believe. And listen, baby, you wouldn't believe what Sasha come to work with today. Men ain't into that.
But it doesn't necessarily even have to do with the long conversation because the love language and everything is different. But when you understand the person, you understand their love language. When you understand them, you understand their history. They've already confided in you about their past and some of the things that affected them and all of it. So the friendship to me is like the number one thing I would recommend to people in terms of re-entering relationships. Develop that friendship first.
Let's read a text. It says, good day. One of the issues today is that people do not know or understand why they have to offer or what they have to offer. If you ask a young lady today, what do you bring to the table? They give an answer outside of intimacy. For men, it is broadcasted as mainly financial. As a man, women today have nothing to offer outside of intimacy. And I think he uses the word intimacy here loosely. I think he means sex.
Sex, yes.
Let's just be very clear.
Yes.
Because intimacy and sex is two different things. Okay,
definitely.
good. So he says that women have nothing to offer outside of intimacy. I am unsure why that is. And I just want to touch this for 2 seconds. I believe that everyone has value. I believe that, the old people would say that there's someone out there for you who understands who you are. Who you intend to be, and understand how to help you to get to that. Even going further, there is this sort of a concept that says behind every strong man that we see, every leader that we see is a strong woman.
Yes.
Now, people always associate that with your wife, but that could be your mother.
Yeah.
That could be your grandmother. That could be an aunt. That could be someone who has said, baby, you could do this.
Yes.
And that's all men really want, know. Men need this reassurance, right, from a feminine aspect. Because our fathers won't say it. Many of our fathers won't have that conversation with you. But they need reassurance from a feminine aspect to really shore up our position in being able to plunge forth.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother would say, baby, don't mind what them people say to you. You're called for great things. You got to do this, baby. You got to do that. You understand? And so that reassurance kind of gave me the confidence to step up and step out. Because at the end of the day, it didn't matter what anyone else said. Once Grammy believed in me,
you were good.
Yes. And that's the exact same, that kind of love that I have for Grammy is the love that I have for my wife now.
Yes.
And then once my wife believed in me, once my wife believed me, it don't matter what nobody else say.
That goes to what I would consider my favorite scene from 300. 300, the movie was out years ago. Sparta.
Mm-hmm.
And many people may have missed it, but it was when the people came into
Leonidas.
Leonidas was the king, and then but there was like this nation that was coming to try conquer them, to take them over, and he disrespected Leonidas' wife, and he was like, "You bring the head of slaughtered kings to my doorstep," and something like that, and he was ready to now go and kill this man, but before he did it, he turned to his wife, and she did a little nod, like, "Go ahead."
Because men need that. Listen, at the end of the day, when I go and lay down with my wife in the sanctity of my home, where there's supposed to be this kind of peace and tranquility, I only need her. No matter the position I take, no matter if you're indifferent with me externally, I only need support internally to know that we're doing what it takes to get the family move forward.
Yes.
And that means even if I fight, that means even if I say something contrary in your belief to what the structure of society is, I have the support of the one that I love and the one that I look forward to.
Yes.
Men will take down the world for that,
But that is only when you get to that level, and many people never reach that level. That's where the issue is, because the walls are up. The masks are still on. Like, I know people who literally, there's more that I know about some people than their wives know about some people, because they've revealed certain things in terms of to me. And so if that marriage relationship has never even crossed that place, and you can't even feel you could be vulnerable with that person in that way, it's like, well, how far will this really go? So
And if this is really real.
Yes.
This can be real.
So the vulnerability aspect is very important, developing that friendship, getting to know the person, so that now when you go through the rough times, like you've built something there that's going to give you a foundation to stand on.
Kendra, I want to thank you so much, man. I mean, you have been astounding today. I want to thank you, and I'm sure that the listeners out there can agree with me when I say that this was really edifying in the conversation. It wasn't a conversation that had to do with the superficiality of love and what happens on a day-to-day basis. He do this, she did this, but really being able to do some introspection and finding deeper meaning in this relationship to find a true sense of growth. I've said that I want to do this because I believe that there are some elements that we've been talking about this. Chivalry is dead in our society. We've been talking about this kind of relationships that this element of cutting up and being able to be flirtatious and being able to be smart and sharp when you're being able to approach a woman. We've lost a lot of this, right? We've lost a lot of how do we find a way to strengthen our relationships through conversations and finding that place. And I think you've done a wonderful job today in being able to say to us, let's look a little bit deeper. You take us back. You talk about and I just want to be able to talk about where we are going forward. I can call you back again now.
No problem.
It's the love light. This
Yes.
is the love week. So I can call you back again to be able to just contribute to these things, because I think you did a phenomenal job. Really fantastic. I thank you so very kindly for being a part of the conversation today. Before we get out of here, if anything you want to say, just kind of put it on the table.
No, I just think I would just want to, particularly for women, just to say, take the time to heal. Build your relationship with self, build your relationship with God. And then when you're looking to now move back into that other relationship, you've healed and you're whole. So now you're going in as a whole person, and then you're expecting that person who's coming to be a whole person. So you're just dealing with overflow after that. But not looking where you're going in already broken and you're hardened, and now God is sending someone to you who is that ideal fit and will love you, but your heart is so hardened that you can't receive it.
Yeah.
So take the opportunity to heal and to build your relationship with self and build your relationship with God, so that you could be ready for when that next blessing comes.
You know what? And that's a principle, he that find a wife find a good thing.
Yes.
But I've always kind of questioned that. How can he find a wife if there was a formal approach of being able to become a wife? That means that before the formality, you are a wife.
Yes.
Before the formality, there are elements in you. When I met my then girlfriend, or just this, she was a wife.
Yeah.
And I saw not only a partner
You saw
in her.
the potential.
I didn't
who
just
she
see a
could be.
partner in her.
Yes.
I saw a mother in her. And all these elements led me, and I know personally that he who find a wife find a good thing. I know that personally. And so I just want to be able to encourage women out there also, just pull the veil down just a little bit. I think society has placed us in this kind of position where you have to put this veil up and this wall between you and the potential that you love. And I think a lot of us are missing out as a result of that. Let's get back into real conversations to find out who we are. Find out before we get intimate with people. Before we watch me. Before we get sexual with people. Let's just be very clear, right? Let's get intimate. Let's know each other first, and then find ourselves being able to grow. I believe our society could be able to do magnanimous things and really be able to expand in those areas. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this conversation today. Right, guys, if you enjoyed the conversation, you want to hear more about it, please let me know. 827-0111, 827-0111. Did we strike a chord with you, right? Because, we're going deeper into this for the entire month. Let me know whether or not you want to be able to hear a part 2 of this. Let me know if you have any stories to be able to contribute to these particular things. Let me know your position, whether or not you could be able to reject this idea of unity and be able to find the strength of independence yourself and still be able to see legacy and longevity in society. I want to hear from you. 827-0111, 827-0111. Kendra, like I said again, thank you. You've done really, really good, and I really do appreciate you taking the time out to come and contribute today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. I thank you so very kindly. This is 96.9 FM radio, Guardian Radio. Howard Grant in your company and being able to chop it down with the foundation. I want to thank you. Thank all those persons. And listen to me. If you want to be able to be a part of it going forward, like I said, please give me a call, 827-0111. Howard, I got something I want to say. Howard, I want to talk about these things. Howard, you didn't touch this, you didn't touch that. Let me know so we can be able to expand this and possibly to a next season, a next conversation, a next time, so we can be able to continue to talk about this love that we can find our communities growing once again. I truly enjoyed this conversation today, and I look forward to having another conversation deeper into it with Black masculinity tomorrow. That's the show today, guys. Please stick and stay for Shivago Lang with Z Live after this. The Foundation with Howard Grant. We see you tomorrow. God's real life. Have a great day, Bahamas.
The Foundation.